Good morning. I'm Christy Taylor, the Executive Director of the Texas Judicial Commission on Mental Health. Thank you for joining us virtually for the third annual Judicial Summit on Mental Health. We have record-breaking attendance today, and this speaks volume about how much Texas cares about improving our courts and systems for people with mental illness and intellectual and developmental disabilities. It is my distinct honor this morning to announce that Chief Justice Nathan Hecht of the Supreme Court of Texas and Presiding Judge Sharon Keller of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals were recently named by NAMI Texas as the 2020 recipients of the Charlie H. Shannon Advocate for Justice Award. This award is given in recognition of their shared vision and tireless efforts in bringing Texas's two highest courts together to create the Judicial Commission on Mental Health. Their leadership creates a resounding positive impact on Texas and garners national attention and new resolve to the intersection of mental illness and the justice system. Thank you, Justice Hecht and Judge Keller, for your dedication, your ever-present leadership. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Chief Justice Nathan Hecht. Chief Justice Hecht is the 27th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Texas. He is the longest serving member of the court in Texas history and the longest tenured Texas judge in active service. He works with the court to assure that Texans living below the poverty level, as well as others with limited means, have access to basic civil legal services. Chief Justice Hecht is also the 2020 recipient of the National Center for State Courts Award for Judicial Innovation. He was selected for this for his outstanding leadership during the early stages of the pandemic. Chief Justice Hecht immediately established the National Pandemic Rapid Response Team that developed practices and resources to help courts remain open, accessible, and safe. Chief Justice.
Thanks, Christy, and good morning to all. Welcome to this third annual conference summit of the Judicial Commission on Mental Health. We're very excited about this. We have made lots of progress in the last two summits, and we're looking forward to seeing the same advancement here in today and tomorrow's activities. Your presence, your commitment, your interest in this work says a lot, as Christy says, about the importance of addressing mental health issues in the administration of justice. You know, the administration of justice must be equal and fair, and the judges who will speak to you today all know that. But to do that, we have to take into account the individual circumstances of the lives of the people who come before us. And when with involving mental health issues, they come in all different kinds of cases. And so this commission is very important in taking an overview of the whole justice system in Texas and finding better ways to address mental health issues. When the Supreme Court of Texas and the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals began discussing creating the commission back in 2017. We were committed to it, but we were a little unsure about how to do it because we'd never done it before. In the history of the courts, we'd never worked together on something like this. And then when we had the joint hearing in January of 2018 with all 18 of us on the same bench, hearing arguments and presentations about the importance of these issues and how best to address them. We all came away convinced that we had done the right thing, that this commission was really going to make an important contribution to justice in Texas, and it has. A lot of that is due to Christy Taylor, the executive director, and we thank Christy and all the people who are working with her. And we look forward to having a good day today and a good day again tomorrow. Others have helped, and you'll hear from Presiding Judge Keller here in just a moment. From our court, Justice Jane Bland is our liaison to the commission and helps with its work. And from the Court of Criminal Appeals, Barbara Hervey. And both of these judges have just been key in all of the work, all of the hands-on work of the commission, and the two courts are deeply indebted to both of them for their efforts. And I want to say a word about Bill Boyce too, because he has been deeply involved in all these issues from the beginning, and we just all appreciate Justice Boyce and his contributions. As Christy said, I am currently serving as president of the National Conference of Chief Justices, and the state courts throughout the United States have been dealing with this historic coronavirus pandemic. The administration of justice has changed profoundly in just the last few months. I only have to point to remote hearings to make that point. We have had hundreds of thousands of remote hearings just in Texas involving millions of people. And so we're looking for ways to not only address the challenges of the pandemic, but going forward, how should the justice change to better meet the needs of the people that we serve? David Slayton, who's the administrative director of the Office of Court Administration, will speak to you here shortly about the efforts that have been done throughout the United States and how Texas has been in a position to lead in those efforts because of the great judges that we have in Texas who are committed to their work and to meeting all of these challenges. So we are delighted that you are here. I'm especially delighted because I know the product of this summit is going to be like the product of the last two. It's going to move the ball down the field. It's going to advance us in dealing with the problems of mental health in the justice system, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you for inviting me to welcome you this morning and enjoy the summit. Thanks, Christy.
Thank you, Chief Justice Hecht. I would now like to introduce Presiding Judge Sharon Keller. She was first elected to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals in 1994. She was elected presiding judge in 2000 and most recently re-elected to that position in 2018. She is the first woman to have served on the court. A native Texan, she earned her Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy at Rice University and her Juris Doctorate at Southern Methodist University School of Law. Presiding Judge Keller is on the board of the Council of State Governments. She is a Life Fellow of the Texas Bar Foundation and a member of the Judicial Advisory Council to the Community Justice Assistance Division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Good morning, and on behalf of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, I welcome you to the 2020 Judicial Summit on Mental Health. Since 2017, I have seen the Texas Judicial Commission on Mental Health evolve from a good idea to the type of organization that has brought together this Texas-sized convening of dedicated professionals. The incarceration of individuals with mental illness is a public health crisis. When the justice system serves as a safety net, courts have an obligation to play an active role in expanding our state's capacity to respond.
We've got about 2 minutes left on that video. I don't know if you can see it over in Nate's tile.
Effective legal representation. The Texas Indigent Defense Commission provides financial and technical support to counties to develop and maintain programs to help provide indigent defense systems. If your county is considering starting or improving representation for indigent defendants with mental illness, there are now more Texas programs that may serve as mentors. As the chair of TIDC, I would like to share a few successes. Last session, the legislature provided TIDC with $5 million to help public defender offices create or expand programs focused on the representation of persons with mental illness. TIDC awarded grants to Harris and Dallas counties to expand their programs and a grant to El Paso to support a new program. Some rural programs received support with the addition of social workers in Lavaca County and multiple counties in the Big Bend region. In these programs, attorneys work with social workers to provide jail release planning, service referrals, mitigation investigations, and other support and advocacy to help stabilize defendants and improve outcomes. With TIDC assistance, Galveston will establish a misdemeanor mental health public defender, and McLennan County is beginning a program that will provide a supervising attorney to oversee the appointments and training of assigned counsel to represent defendants with mental illness and a caseworker to improve links to mental health services. Also, TIDC partnered with TCDLA to deliver the gold standard in juvenile training to a group of select juvenile defense attorneys in February of this year. Finally, you will find publications and more information on TIDC's website that may assist you further as you work to provide excellent representation in your county. Thank you for taking 2 days from your busy schedules to become better informed, to strengthen collaboration among the systems, and to develop solutions to address mental health challenges in our state.
Thank you, Presiding Judge Sharon Keller. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Justice Jane Bland. She was appointed to the court in August 2019 and recently elected in 2020. Before her appointment to the Supreme Court of Texas, she served as a justice on the First Court of Appeals in Houston for 15 years, after 6 years as a Harris County District County Judge. Justice Bland is board certified in civil appellate law and civil trial law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization. She has served on the Texas Supreme Court's Rules Advisory Committee for 18 years and is the co-chair of the Judicial Commission on Mental Health.
Good morning. We are delighted to have you here with us this morning. Judge Hurdy and I are so grateful for all of you who have signed up to attend this conference. The plans for this conference began almost as soon as the last one ended last fall that many of you attended. But, plans for the conference had to adapt, as we've seen in our organizations throughout Texas, in the judiciary and in the mental health arena, having to adapt to the COVID epidemic. And what we've seen is this amazing work by our chair, Christy Taylor, our executive director, Christy Taylor, and her staff, Molly Davis and Kama Harris, to put on a virtual conference with a record-breaking attendance by all of you. So thank you to our executive director, Christy, and her team, Molly and Kama. They are fabulous lawyers who are committed to this mission. We also want to acknowledge and thank all of our commissioners on the Judicial Commission for Mental Health, including our Vice Chair, Justice Bill Boyce, and the chair, in particular, the chair of the Curriculum Committee, Judge Brent Carr from Tarrant County. Judge Carr, as many of you know, is deeply committed to this mission, has a breadth of experience in managing the kinds of problems that all of us encounter in the justice system when trying to address the needs of those with mental health challenges and IDD challenges. And he has brought that deep experience to directing our summit and developing a curriculum that we hope you will enjoy and find informative and enlightening. And we'd like to thank our collaborative council with many, many participants across the state who are involved in all types of mental health work, whether it be in the judiciary, in law enforcement, or in healthcare. And it's that work that really enables us to collaborate and develop improvements for our system. And that's one of the goals of this summit, for you to be able to share your good ideas, to inspire you to try something new, and mainly to connect with your colleagues across the state. We hope to give you some tools and resources that you may not have been aware of, and to encourage you to try them in your community. As you know, the judiciary is just one participant in what is a very highly fragmented system, mental health system that we have in Texas. The Judicial Commission on Mental Health is dedicated to creating resources that are organized around the sequential intercept model to try to unite the fragments and develop a better understanding of the whole picture in Texas. And there are two online resources I'd like to highlight. The first is the Summit webpage. It has tabs for all of the PowerPoints and the resources that our speakers will refer to during their presentations over the next 2 days. And it has a forum page for further discussion. Obviously, it's not the same as us all being in person, but it does have a list of participants that we're sharing and an opportunity to message them. We encourage you to reach out to friends, old and new, because we know that collaboration and coordinated efforts among the courts and the many stakeholders like you who are watching this morning is what we need to effectively address problems within our justice system and the intersection of mental health. On the Summit webpage, as well as the Judicial Commission on Mental Health website, you'll find 2 bench books created by our staff, and many disciplines were represented in vetting these bench books. The first is a brand new one that is focused on juvenile mental health, because obviously the concerns of mental health and an adolescent are different than they are for adults. And so this book is geared toward those concerns. And then we also have published a second edition of our JCMH bench book for adults. Finally, there you will also find a resource guide that is a compilation of Texas laws related to mental health and intellectual and developmental disabilities in one convenient place. And that's the attempt to gather and compile the many different places in Texas laws that address mental health and put them in a place where you can easily refer to them. Finally, I'll just note that the work of our commission is not limited to this summit. Under the leadership of Justice Bill Boyce, we've had 2 legislative work groups that have worked over the past year to develop legislative proposals aimed at improving mental health and the intersection of mental health and the justice system. Those work groups have met throughout the spring, even after the pandemic, and I'm happy to say that their proposals have been approved by the Texas Judicial Council, and work is ongoing to present and refine those proposals in anticipation of the 87th legislative session. We're looking forward to a strong showing for Texas mental health, and we're certainly looking forward to the next 2 days. Obviously, you can't let the perfect get in the way of the good, and we're hoping that this is a very good alternative to our in-person summit. Thank you for joining, and please forgive us any hiccups along the way, but we hope that you will find it an enlightening 2 days. Thanks very much. Back to you, Christy.
Thank you, Justice Bland. Next, I would like to introduce Judge Barbara Hervey. Judge Hervey was elected to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals in the year 2000. Prior to that, she was an assistant district attorney in Bexar County for 16 years. She's an author, speaker, and advisor. Judge Hervey has a passion for judicial education and a strong commitment to the individuals affected by mental illness and IDD within our court systems. Judge Hervey leads the judicial education section of the Court of Criminal Appeals and serves as the co-chair of the Judicial Commission on Mental Health.
Good morning. I am proud to serve as the co-chair of this historic, and collaborative commission. And it is wonderful to see all of the judges and other stakeholders in attendance today. And we hope that we can together learn some new and exciting things about mental health and intellectual disabilities and their impact and intersection with our justice system. It is our hope that you will leave this summit with some new ideas, practical ideas, resources, and next steps for your communities. I would like to, before I say anything else, I really want to thank Christy and her staff. They have been wonderful. They have helped us so much, and they have done a wonderful job in getting not only this summit together, but we have lots of meetings, lots of resources, and they are to be highly commended. We, at the Court of Criminal Appeals, and I want to draw attention to this, we have developed what we call the resource guide, and my staff worked tirelessly to pull this information together. And what it does is it puts resource information together to provide an explanation of services and resources by type, region, and county. The resource guide is intended to be continuously updated. And so I have made this request before, but I will continue to make it over and over and over again. It would help all of us if we would update this by continuing to send any resource information to our court. The email address for that is on the Court of Criminal Appeals website, but I'm also going to give it to you right now. It's simple. It's mental health resource, one word, altogether, at txcourts.gov. Please help us in updating this. It'll be very, very useful to all of us. And the Commission is currently working to create an online interactive website based on the resource guide. So now is a great time to help us update this information. Another important source of mental health information comes from our judicial ed programs that are given grants through the Court of Criminal Appeals from the gracious monies that are given to us by the legislature. And I lead the effort to administer the grants for the purpose of providing continuing legal education in courses, programs, technical assistance programs. And my grantees, there are 8 of them. Well, they're not mine. They're everybody's grantees. They're for judges, court personnel, prosecuting attorneys, defense attorneys, and their personnel, criminal defense attorneys, and we regularly represent indigent defendants through training on innocence and mental health, those kinds of things. And the grants also, on occasion, assist law enforcement and scientists, and we work tirelessly on that. And I am very, very proud of all the work that they do. The legislature has been very, very helpful. They've been very generous. And I like to brag because Texas leads the nation in our training, not just in the everyday legal matters, but now in mental health, forensics, et cetera. And our grantees started training in the area of mental health long before we put this commission together. But now they've really geared up, even with COVID, and they've had to cancel some programs because of COVID, but they are putting out lots and lots of webinars on mental health, and they've got a lot of stuff planned for the upcoming year. Currently, there are 8 organizations who receive grants from the Court of Criminal Appeals, and I want to recognize them at this time. We have the Texas Center for the Judiciary, the Texas Municipal Courts Education Center, the Texas Justice Courts Training Center, the Center for American and International Law, the Texas Association of Counties, the Texas District and County Attorneys Association, the Texas Criminal Defense Lawyers Association, and the Texas District Court Alliance. And as I said previously, they host trainings, create resources specific to their stakeholders, and they do a great job. And they do a lot of collaborative work too. If you are new to the commission, we hope that you'll visit our website, subscribe to our Jurist in Residence letter that comes from our Senior District Judge, John Specia. Stay connected and let us know how we can help you and how you can help us in this vital work. And I want to say that in the present day, all of us have either a family member or we know someone who suffers from some mental health issue or an intellectual disability issue, and we need to reach out and help this vital part of our community. So thank you very much for attending today.
Thank you, Judge Hervey, and thank you to all the judges for your leadership. I'd also like to echo the thanks to the JCMH staff for their incredible efforts. Jessica Arguijo serves as our communications manager. Patrick Passmore is our grants manager. And I'd like to offer a special recognition to Molly Davis. She is the attorney who led the development of the new juvenile mental health bench book. And as Justice Bland said, you can find that on our website or on this summit website. I'd also like to recognize Kama Harris. the staff attorney at JCMH who put this entire summit together. It has been quite a feat. Thank you and congratulations on these successes.